What's good, y'all? Another beautiful day. This is Christopher with the hopezy.life, and I wanted to kind of expand a little bit on the last video I put out as far as becoming who you need to become to live the life you dream of. Now, one of the things, the first step that we took in that exercise was to come up with a timetable for an income we're looking to achieve. Because in this material world, you need material resources in order to serve other people. And that's exactly how God's kingdom is set up. All of us are called to serve a group of people. And it's through service to them that God provides abundantly for us. Now, one of the aspects of that could cause resistance in folks is the fact that we're talking about an income that is potentially more money in a month than you've ever made in a year. And it's so easy with all of the messaging in society. I can speak personally. You know, my dad, wonderful man. I love him dearly. But he operates from a scarcity mindset. And he really trained me to think that everything was scarce. But the truth of the matter is, there are plenty of people all over the world who do not live in scarcity. They have more than they could ever use. They have generational wealth. Now, how do you achieve generational wealth in a single lifetime? You have to throw the concept that money is time or that time is money completely out the window. This is a lie. And many people, they work by the hour, or they work a salary by the year. And they're trapped in that paradigm. And when you're trapped in that paradigm, you can't see your way out of it. Understandably so. I've been there. So I'm not trying to cast any shade. I know this firsthand. For the vast majority of my life, I was in that place. But the reality is, money is an infinite thing. Money is energy. And energy can never be destroyed or created. It simply changes form. And so, in this way, you have to recognize that there's as much money, as much material wealth as you could ever possibly need to serve those you're called to serve. So, hypothetically, let's just take a number of $100,000 per month in income. For many, many, many people who watch this, that's going to seem like an absurd amount of money. A lot of people don't make six figures in a year, so to talk about making six figures in a month sounds a little crazy. Yet, we know there are many, many, many people on this planet that make that much or more. So clearly it's possible. So how do we get out of that time equals money paradigm, that time equals money trap? The way you do it is by recognizing that if you simply trade your hours for money, you're capped. We all have 24 hours in a day. But here's the beautiful thing. We can create things that do work for us. And namely what I'm talking about is a product. A product, especially a digital product, can be sold over and over and over and over and over again without you having to do more work. So we could take the idea of writing a book. And let's say you sell that book for $20. This is relatively inexpensive, and so long as that book helps someone achieve a result, or maybe it's a good story, just a good book in general, you can sell it, and people will pay $20 for it. Now, if you were to sell 1,000 copies of that book, that would be $20,000. If you could sell 5,000 copies of that book, that would be $100,000. And you might be saying, well, how do I sell 5,000 copies of a book within a 1 month period? That's beyond the scope of this video, but if that's what you want to do, look into doing it, because many people have done it. It is not impossible. It just may be something that you haven't thought of because of that time equals money paradigm. Now let's think about this another way. What if you take the content of the book, and let's assume that this book is something that shows people how to get from point A to point B. It shows them a clear path to achieve a result. These are the most profitable types of products because everyone wants better results. So let's say you take that content of the book and instead you turn it into an audio course. And instead of charging $20 for the book, maybe you charge $200 for that audio course. Well, now, if I sell 1,000 of them, that's $200,000, right? Am I doing my math wrong? Yeah. $200,000. And if you sell 5,000 of them, that's $1 million, right? Now, what if we think about this in another way? What if I take that exact same content, that clear path from A to B, leading to a delivered result that people want, and instead of doing $200 for an audio course, you turn it into a video course, an interactive video course for $2,000. Well, now if you sell 1,000, that's $2 million. If you sell 5,000, that's $10 million. Do you see what I'm getting at here? It's by understanding that we were made in the image of God and God is a creator. We are all creative beings. You are not stuck trading your time for money, so long as you execute and operate from that understanding that you are a creative being made in the image of your creator. And God calls us multiple times throughout the Bible to be fruitful and multiply. This is what we're talking about. Take that divine spark within you, utilize it creatively, and then multiply. And it's through this fruitful multiplication that you are best able to serve those you are called to serve. And in serving them, they can then be fruitful and multiply. And the more of us who recognize how God's kingdom works and operate within the rules that He set up for us, the more prosperous, peaceful, wonderful, and beautiful this entire world gets. And I don't know about you, but I love living each and every day with autonomy. I love having purpose. I love being driven to do the work I'm called to do. I love having peace, joy, love filling my heart. I love meeting new and fascinating people all of the time that I can share insights with and I can learn insights from them. I love going to new places and experiencing new foods and different cultures and all of these wonderful things. And it's by having this abundant mindset, this recognition that God did not make us in this limited box that some in the world wish for you to operate from. Because make no mistake, those in the world that really tell you that's the way that it is, they're keeping you trapped for their benefit. So what if you took ownership of your life? What if you recognize that you are a child of God? You are a divine being. You are not a slave to anyone. In Egypt, the Israelites, they were not just slaves, they were brickmakers. Their job was to literally create the prison that they were kept within. And that's how the modern world works for so many people. It's by buying into these cultural lies that a few people benefit from that so many suffer and don't ultimately reach that divine potential that is within each and every one of us. So I encourage you, think bigger, much bigger. And if you've been stuck in some kind of a job, a 9-to-5 that it barely pays the bills, you can't really do the things you want to do, you can't take the vacations you want to take, you can't eat at the places you want to eat at, all of this type of stuff. Start thinking about what you enjoyed doing as a kid. What creative thing was just the most fun in the world for you? And then come up with a way to turn that into a product. Again, a digital product is an amazing thing because unlike, say, a physical book that has to be manufactured, the digital product can just exchange hands without any additional aid from others. And the beautiful thing with the way the world works, and you say Amazon publishing, you don't have to worry about having to actually physically make the books. It'll get taken care of for you with just a simple cut of the revenue. So again, the only victim, or the only one you are a victim to in this life is you. And that's okay, because I used to be a victim to myself while blaming everybody else and saying they were the ones who were victimizing me. But the truth of the matter is, I didn't take ownership of my full being. I didn't take ownership of my mind. I wasn't the software engineer for my mind, which is the software to the hardware that is our brain. And again, we are multi-dimensional beings. We exist across multiple planes at the same time. Material, mental, spiritual. And everything emanates from the spiritual. This is the lowest form of creation, gross matter. So we can either continue to operate from a place of lack and feel stuck and feel trapped in the physical material realm, or we can recognize that by stretching into that divine realm, by thinking bigger instead of smaller, that we can literally bend time. You do not have to be limited by the amount of money that you've always made over the course of your life. You do not have to trade time for money, at least not in the type of exchange that people are used to. Obviously, it does take time in order to do things, but by creating things that work for you, you can get your time back. And that's the beautiful thing about how this world truly works, that so few people will ever tell you is how it works. So, I think that's a good spot to leave it here. I want to just get some wheels turning for you, to start opening up to possibilities, to start thinking bigger, and to start recognizing your calling as a divine child of God. God does not want you to be poor. He does not want you to struggle. He does not want you to suffer the ills of this world that come from scarcity and lack. God is a provider of abundance, infinite, unending abundance. And that is your calling, is to, again, serve those you are called to serve based on the unique talents and gifts that you have through the trials and circumstances of your life that have refined your character. Use that to serve other people, and you will be provided for abundantly. So, I love you. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk soon. Peace.